Welcome back to the Entre Nous podcast. Today's guest is a very special person to me, my own personal counsel and lawyer, Maître Alexandre Riou. Maître Alexandre Riou, welcome to our podcast. Thank you so much for coming, mate. I've been meaning to get you on here. You don't like to come in front of the camera.
No, I'm not very used to that.
Yeah.
I'm used to speak
in front of court?
Yeah, exactly.
Where you defend mainly business law?
Yes, mainly.
Okay. So thankfully not too many people are looking to sue me right now, but I just thought I'll get friends with the right kind of person, right? So Alex and I have been working together for many years now, 4 or 5 years probably.
Yes, I think.
And you've seen French connections grow, the problems that growth brings, and thank you for the belief in me and what we do, because working in and around law is a difficult thing for a private individual like myself, and not a guy, a man of the cloth, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So I've got quite a privileged relationship with, well, one, you, and of course the company that you've created. So before we dive into that, because I think there's a great added value here for people that are going to be watching, and you'll understand why I choose Alex as my own personal counsel as well. Do you want to give us, without, I know this is not a thing about you telling us how brilliant you are, Alex, but your background is quite impressive in terms of studies and the law and where you've studied as well. So do you want to give our viewers a little bit of background? So you're born in Nantes?
I'm born in Nantes. I grew up in Nantes. I started my studies in Nantes University. Then I went to Paris, Panthéon-Assas, which is a pretty good university for studying law in France. And then I had the chance to be admitted to Oxford University, Magdalen College.
Wow.
Amazing experience, of course, legendary institution. I think
and you didn't lose your English accent.
No. I think I never worked so hard in my life as a student in Oxford.
Because of the place that it was, or was it the language as well?
No, because of the place.
Yeah.
Of course, the language was difficult at the beginning, but you have so many reading, tutorials, debates, so much thing to learn. You're doing tutorials with world-class professors. It's really intimidated.
I can imagine. Plus the new language.
Exactly.
Plus the stress and pressure of being there.
Yeah, and the brilliant
and the English beer.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
God, don't tell me about it. but that was one stage which England still stays very close to your heart. You enjoyed your time there. And
sure, I love England. I love London, especially London. That's why we opened an office in London a few years ago.
Yeah.
COVID times.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoy England, English culture.
And so for all of the Americans they're watching, you've also done a bit of
as well
a stint over there.
Yes, I went to New York after Oxford. I did a year at NYU, New York University. I passed the New York bar exam.
Wow.
It was in 2009, I think. Back then, I wanted to work in New York, but it was the subprime crisis at that time. So it was very, very difficult, nearly impossible to be hired in New York. So I got back to Paris, and I've been hired by an American law firm, Wilkie Farr & Gallagher. I worked in the M&A department, corporate law, transactional services, for I think 4 or 5 years at Wilkie. Great experience, long hours, but friendly atmosphere, and it was, I think, a very, very good training when you are a young lawyer working in these kind of firms. It's really interesting.
A lot of again, just a link to America and a different way to
of course
works.
Yes,
yes.
It's
kind of we talk about it a lot. It's just the way that people interact is just so different, and I think
completely different. Yes.
France is very old-fashioned. We have le vouvoiement. We keep we call you maître instead of. So there's a big thing for those that don't know this. I joked about it, maybe when I introduced, but But in France, whether you be a notaire or a lawyer or high court lawyer, which is avocat à la cour, you would refer to somebody as maître. If you didn't know them, you would, even if you knew them in a professional environment, you'd say maître. It's like a formal of like saying doctor, I guess. Or
yes, kind of.
It's one of our weird French kind of things and it makes a distance, right? It creates a barrier.
It does, yeah.
So people feel a bit scared, especially French people would be scared of lawyers.
Yes,
like
but it's really different when you work with English or American clients.
It's completely different because there's no.
Yes, it's easier, I think.
And for our American clients, again, watching this or people that are watching the US, you might be used to paying retainers for law, etc. These are, guys, you sue yourself far too often in the US, right? That's the thing. You've got to have a good lawyer. But in France, really, lawyers aren't used quite as much as in the US, I guess, for things, for private individuals at least.
No, yeah. There is not the same culture of lawyers.
So Nantes, Paris, Oxford, New York, back to Paris.
Back to Paris.
Time when the American law firm.
Yes. And then 4 years in a small boutique law firm in Paris, doing business litigation, white-collar crime, bankruptcy. 4 years. And then 2018, I became a partner of 186 law firm.
186,
186 Avocat.
And let's talk about that, because that's, of course, the thing that we started our relationship with, which is 186, which is slightly evolving now. We've got loads of other plans and things going on, but there was, a relationship that we started working for, because I realized as a supplier of service, where our company was growing, we started turning over multi-million euros worth of turnover with thousands of clients being looked after, and competition arising, like there were people doing the same thing, or maybe they already did, but not at the scale that we did. I just felt, okay, we need legal backing to this. Because whilst I'm always the one that says that you can do a visa application on your own, and people advise, essentially, people on visas without being lawyers, and quite often are successful with it, because it's a fairly straightforward process for just a private individual.
Sure.
But I realized that, hang on a second, we've got more American clients. We need more legal activity. We need more coverage. And that's when I started using you guys initially as kind of suppliers. And then we grew to now having full teams that are dedicated to French connections. We work together constantly with all of the files, and we've grown to other sides of law, so we will actually give not just immigration side of information.
Yeah, because we are a full services law firm. Yeah, so we can help you on
from divorce to literally.
Yes. We do tax law, real estate, commercial litigation.
So 186 LSF we'll talk about with the girls that will join us with Geoffroy.
Yes. Major
partner of the firm. Us three, that's our kind of friendship outside of work, I guess, is creating more and more work together. But we have now offices in Paris, office in London. There's also New York and Belgium, Brussels.
Not New York, Brussels.
Brussels, yeah.
New York one day.
One day. No, but that was we can do that. That's the one thing that we would talk about is our expansion into the US potentially.
Yes.
But.
And Nantes,
of course.
Yes.
Where you're based.
Yes.
And so in the family, your wife is also...
In Nantes,
and the lawyer?
Too. Yeah, and my wife is a lawyer. Yeah.
So she's specialised in...
real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah.
And so we can really cover all angles
exactly,
here.
Yes.
We're definitely...
She went to Oxford as well.
Oh, there you go. Is that where you met?
Yeah. No.
You didn't meet them?
No.
I never asked you that question. But... well, there you go, a family of Oxford scholars.
Exactly.
But the point being, in terms of what we do in today, what's really exciting is we've got a platform which we share pretty much technology. There's a whole new thing that I'm trialing with you guys in Nantes, which I'm starting, where I'm using French connections technology to come and help out at 186.
Yes.
You're now the managing partner
of the
a
firm.
186 firm.
Mhm.
How many lawyers in total operate?
We are 9 partners and about 20 associates.
Yep.
So with the interns and the staff, great staff, I think we are about between 40 and 50, depending on the period of the year. Yeah.
And so weirdly, we operate law for immigration really from London, our London office,
Yes.
in terms of Pia, who's pretty much dedicated only to working for French Connection clients. And if you become a client and you have a more complex type of visa, a business visa, that will be Pia, that will be kind of in touch with you. And we've created, platforms where we do all of the business plans. It's a full encompassing service, which 186 is one key component of.
Yes.
And then there's La Solution Formalité, which Geoffroy, who's the founding partner,
Yes, exactly.
owns, who's licensed to create companies, and we do that from our Paris office, where again French Connections has like 5-6 dedicated members of staff.
Yes.
So we're kind of fully intertwined in terms of how we operate the business.
Right.
And now what's exciting is we're growing the business
together
on other fronts, and maybe we can help all other law firms in France optimize.
I hope so one day. Yeah.
Well, the thing was, we suffer from the same problem, right? Pretty much the growth of French Connections was, how do we optimize Richard's time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody wants to speak with Richard first, and then I can administer. But that's very much the case of what you do. Like, you'll speak first to the lawyer, and then you're sending the work really to your paralegals.
Exactly.
Check in.
Associates, paralegal, yes.
And that's really how this similarity, and we can work on that. But in terms of 186, I just think it's worth mentioning. Now we operate, so you operate all over, of course, different types of law, but you're the top guy at 186 now. You're kind of managing the firm for Geoffroy, who's kind of moved over towards working with me and with LSF.
Mm-hmm.
And there's loads of exciting plans for that. But Nantes operates your team,
Yes.
and then you've got a further team.
My team in Nantes. I've got one of the other partners is in Nantes, also Chloe, which is a new partner. She's a solicitor, and she specializes in contracts, AI, IT. So very interesting.
A lot of sports people.
A lot of sports with Geoffroy.
Yeah.
A lot of tennis guys.
Yeah.
A lot of sports law.
Claims and injury, like literally everything is covered. That's
everything except maybe public law, but public law is very specific area. So we have good friends if we need to get clients for this kind of matter. And
we were talking about America, and I think what we're doing with French Connections, of course, we're growing more and more in the US market. And I think the one thing that's quite exciting, Alex and I are working on projects where we would come to the US, we can consult with you guys, we can also open it up to business as well, where we're parts of various chambers, but also the British American Chamber, where I was yesterday in London, and we're kind of working on more stuff linked to the US. And of course, Alex, you'll be the guy that comes with me to go and do that. So if anybody's watching and wants to get in touch with us, of course, you can do so and get in the comments below, and we'll come and have dinner with you in New York, guys, if you want to.
I hope so.
Let's make it real for the guys watching. With what we do now between London, Paris, and French Connections, what can we offer our clients? What is it that we can offer?
Well, a lot of things, but I think maybe if you want to set up a company, like an SCI, Société Civile Immobilière, which is very common in France if you want to invest in the real estate with your family, for example. So it would be very important to set up such company. We can, of course, help register, help
register the businesses as well.
Register businesses.
Use the address.
Draft the article of association. Maybe the shareholders agreement. It could be very important.
We do all of that as a unit,
exactly.
As one company.
Yes, and because in France it's not so
difficult,
so easy to register a company. if you want to do that in London, for example, you can do that in just an hour. You don't need to be a lawyer. But in France, not so easy, especially if you don't speak French. My advice would be to get.
And again, that's for the clients we work, in combination with all of those things, with Géraud as well, and French Tax Online, which can give you that initial advice. And our teams are all interlinked. I think that's what the clients need to know. That we use the same tech. We're communicating on the same platforms. So we're basically one big unit, but of course there's legislations, there's orders to follow.
It's very, very important to, for example, talking about Géraud, it's really important to have a good accountant and to make your business plan if you want to set up maybe not an SCI but a commercial company. The bank, if you need to...
Together with that, always that idea of working,
So I think it's a teamwork, and it's
How have you found it, by the way, working with me?
very excellent.
A nightmare.
Not a nightmare. No.
A lot of change.
I think you're the best salesman I ever met. No, it's really, really good.
And a lot of technology-led stuff, right?
Yes, yeah.
Somehow I introduce you guys. You joked we had dinner the other night. You're saying that a colleague of yours does it all on paper.
On paper, yeah. I think a lot of lawyers in France have a
lot of lawyers everywhere, mate. It's not just generally in France. But then that's of course how we come along and put that in to what you guys do. And thank you for trusting me with all of that as well, because it's
a pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Hey, again, Alex, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We will, of course, be able to answer anything that you need in terms of comments below if you're asking about law and things like that. We, as you've seen today, Alex and I can sort pretty much anything out. So, again, thank you, Alex, for coming today.
Thank you very much, Rich.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. As usual, you can follow us on our socials, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, or of course, YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Pop any questions that you might have in the comment box below. And of course, you can find and book an appointment with us through our website at frenchconnectionshcb.com.